Hey guys, it's me Elizabeth. I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This one is not really a book related video. I'm sorry. I've actually been planning this for a very long time. We're actually doing something related to movies. Essentially, I've been planning this video since last year, like I don't even know how long ago that was. It was either the middle or the beginning of 2022. Like, I've been planning this for a very long time. And, it's still not completed. My challenge is not completed, but I figured that this is getting to be really long, and so I decided that I'm going to split this into 2 videos because this is just getting ridiculous at how long this is. Yes, I'm not very good at being consistent and continuing this and doing this all the time. Let's get into the concept of this video, because you're probably, you already know what I'm talking about if you read the title, but you probably might be confused. Basically, last year I decided I was going to watch a giant list that I made of animated movies. It's not every single animated movie ever, but it is a very good portion of a lot of animated movies. There are a few animated movies that I left off because I know I don't like them, or a few I left off because I know I don't care to watch them, but there are also a few that I've never seen on this list that I was kind of intrigued to watch, a few on this list that I knew I wasn't a huge fan of, but I wanted to watch anyway to see if my opinion changed. So, we have a lot of movies, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Think like 74. I think that's about the number I have for the amount of movies to watch. The amount that I've watched so far is about 42. I believe 42 is the correct. And then we still have a giant list of a bunch more to watch. A good portion of these movies I've seen before. There's like maybe a handful that I haven't seen, and there's maybe like 3 or 4 that I've watched so far that I haven't seen. But most of these movies I have seen before, but I wanted to rewatch and watch the ones I haven't seen, and watch all of these movies and give you my ratings, what I think of them, are they worth watching, all of that stuff. So here are my 3 main criteria for all the movies. Is it worth watching? Would I watch it again? And what is my rating? That is the general consensus that I put in for all of these movies. Now, I have put these movies, I have them like by which, like the order I watched them in, and then I also have them in the order of their rating. So the lowest rated ones are at the bottom, the highest rated ones are at the top. I figure to do this, the numbers of the order I watched them in are all like mixed up because that's not the order of the rating. So I will try to start at the top with the first movie I watched. When I go through this list, I will warn you, this is going to be a long video, and whenever I get the following video, which will be quite a long time from now because there's still a lot of movies. I still have 33 movies to watch. This is going to be a very long video. The second part is also going to be a very long video. It's just going to be long all the way around, but I figured, besides the fact that this is already going to be a long video anyways, I figured splitting it up would be best so that I can actually, like, finally talk about some of this stuff. So, let's just start, and let's just get into the different movies, and I'll tell you my thoughts. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can for some of them. Some of them might not be as brief, but I'll try to be brief because, like I said, there's a lot to go through. So the first movie on this list that I watched, if we're going in order of when I watched them, which I don't know exactly when I watched it, but it was the first movie I watched, is Mulan, Disney's Mulan. Yes, Mulan. So we're gonna start out with the rating, and is it worth watching, and watch again. So is it worth watching? No, the rating. Excuse me. The rating is 5 stars. I love Mulan. Mulan is awesome. It is a great movie. If you haven't seen Mulan, it's hilarious. I highly recommend watching Mulan. Is it worth watching? Well, yes, obviously. It's one of my favorite animated movies. It's a 5 star, so yes, of course it's worth watching. Would I watch it again? I mean, do I have to say yes? Like, you probably can already tell that it's a yes. Some of these might be pretty obvious, some of these are definitely not pretty obvious. So, yes, and 5 stars. Number 2. At number 2, we have Wreck-It Ralph. When I watched Wreck-It Ralph, I had never seen it before in my life. I knew what it was, I've seen it on the internet, but I've never actually watched it in my life until I watched it that time. What do I think of Wreck-It Ralph? Well, let's put it this way. When I went in to watch it, I was expecting it to be a pretty terrible movie. I was expecting to hate it. I was thinking this is going to be the stupidest movie. Now, was I wrong? Kind of, but also kind of not. It was better than I was expecting it to be, but I still wasn't a fan of it. What are my ratings and such? My rating is a 2.5. It wasn't the worst movie, but I didn't really like it. But did I think it was worth watching? Yes, I think it was worth watching for the sake of, now I know that it's not the greatest movie, and I know not to watch it, and no, I will probably not be ever watching this again. It's not worth it. It's not really that great of a movie, and it's about video games and this video game character. It's not really my thing. I'm not really into it. When I first watched it, I was like, this is kind of not that bad. But sitting on it and my thoughts, I'm like, but I'm never ever going to watch this again. This was not that great of a movie. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't that, like, it was better than I was expecting it to be, but I still would never watch it again because it's not my type of movie. Number 3, we have Ralph Breaks the Internet. Preceding Wreck-It Ralph, I decided that I was going to watch the second one as well, get my opinion on this. Basically, I thought this one was worse than Wreck-It Ralph. It's a 2 stars. Again, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. I think that cake goes to 2005 Pride and Prejudice, but I don't think it was worth watching, and I know I would never watch it again. Like, the first one was better than I was expecting it to be, and I think if you want to give it a watch and you've never seen it, then I would say go for it. It's not, like, not worth watching, but the second one is definitely not worth watching. It's just bad. I say no to Ralph Breaks the Internet. Then, at number 4, we have one of the worst movies on this list, and I have seen this movie before in my past as a child. I watched The Little Mermaid. Some of these Disney movies, like the Disney princess movies, there are people on the internet who are, like, really into these movies, and I just, like, in the sidelines over here thinking, why the heck does anyone like this? I mean, I get why little children like it, but, like, adults, I'm just like, this is a terrible movie. But Little Mermaid, it is a terrible movie. The only reason that I gave this a 1 star is because I made it the whole way through the movie. Do I think it's worth watching? Maybe if you're 5 years old, but no. I'm sorry. I'm just being brutally honest. Would I watch it ever again? No, I would not watch it again. I think this movie is a terrible movie. I don't understand. Besides, obviously, little kids, which is what this is meant for, I don't understand why people would like this movie. At number 5, probably the most controversial movie on this list, because literally the world, I mean the whole world, is like obsessed with this movie. Like, on the internet, I see everyone is just like obsessed with this movie, and I literally don't understand it. I never could understand why people like this movie. I want to preface this by saying I have seen this movie in my past. I think I've seen it once all the way through, and every other time I've watched it, I've seen it in bits and pieces, and I've never, ever, ever, ever liked it. I've never liked this movie. What movie am I talking about, you might ask? It's The Lion King. Yup, it's The Lion King. I know everyone else is obsessed with this movie, but this is at the very lowest low of my list because it has a -1 star. And you want to know the reason that I gave it a -1 star? It is because I could not make it through the movie. I couldn't finish the movie. I was like halfway through the movie and I was like, I hate this. I'm not subjecting myself to this movie. So I didn't finish it. I'm sorry, I just don't like The Lion King. Never have, never will. Not worth watching in my opinion, and never watching it again. Number 6. Now we're floating back to the top, the very top. We have Emperor's New Groove. If you've never seen The Emperor's New Groove, what are you doing with your life? One of the best animated movies of all time. Definitely a 5 stars. Yes and yes. Yes, it's worth watching, and yes, I will watch it over and over and over and over and over again. This movie is absolutely freaking hilarious. I mean, this movie is hilarious. Let's move on. This is already taking forever. Movie number 7, we have Toy Story. Toy Story number 1, the very first Toy Story. It is a 4 stars. I personally am a huge fan of the Toy Story franchise. We'll expand on some of the later movies later, but I am mostly a huge fan of the Toy Story franchise, and so this is a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching, and yes, I will watch this again because I love this movie. It's really great. At number 8, coming in, we have Toy Story 2, which is another one of my favorite animated movies of all time. I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. During my childhood, I was like obsessed with this movie. I just love the Toy Story franchise. So, Toy Story 2 is a 5 stars. Yes, I'm going to rewatch it again, and yes, it is worth watching. Coming in at number 9, we have Toy Story 3. Again, another Toy Story movie. This one falls into the same vein as Toy Story 1. It's a 4 stars. Yes, obviously yes to everything else. I like Toy Story 3. I think it's really fun. It's great. A great time. Now, I did deviate from watching Toy Story 4 and watched a bunch of other stuff. So, at number 10, we have Robin Hood, Disney's Robin Hood, another one of the best animated movies of all time, and this one gets a 5 stars. One of the best Disney movies of all time. There's only a couple ahead of it, and it's definitely worth watching, and I'm definitely going to watch it again over and over and over again. 11. I watched Kronk's New Groove, which is the second movie to Emperor's New Groove. And for Kronk's New Groove, I gave it a 3 stars. Was it worth watching? Yes. Would I watch it again? Maybe. One thing about Kronk's New Groove is it's not necessarily a bad movie. That's why it's 3 stars. It's worth watching. But it's also like a little over the top, and Kronk can be a little annoying because in Emperor's New Groove, Kronk is hilarious. I love him. But in Kronk's New Groove, when you get just Kronk as the main character, it gets to be a little bit too much, and it gets to be a little annoying. Like, in Emperor's New Groove, he's not the main character, so it's hilarious because, you get the bits of him where he's hilarious and all that. But in Kronk's New Groove, it's purely Kronk. And after a while, that can get a little annoying to just have pure Kronk. Like, if you know, you know. But it was fun. It was funny. It was fun to watch. It's just not my personal favorite. And I don't know, maybe I would watch it again, but not anytime soon. I'm not, like, set on, no, I wouldn't watch this again, or yes, I will watch this again. It's just kind of like a maybe if I ever feel like it in the future type of a thing. Number 12, another one. There's gonna be a theme. There's a lot of amazing animated movies, and we have The Incredibles. The Incredibles is just absolutely amazing. I love this movie, and I gave it a 4.5 stars. Yes, I think it's 100% worth watching, and yes, it is 100% going to be watched over and over again. Number 13, we have Incredibles number 2. Now, The Incredibles is hilarious. It's a great movie. And The Incredibles 2 is a 4.5. It is below The Incredibles. And yes, I'd watch it again. And yes, it's worth watching. But The Incredibles 2 is absolutely hilarious. It is so comical. Like, oh my gosh, it is comical. Number 14, we have Peter Pan. I think Peter Pan is actually a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's fun. I gave it a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching, and yes, I'd watch it again. One thing I will say is, again, it's not the best movie ever, but I do personally enjoy it, and I personally will watch it again. But if you have read the book, there are, like, it is not exactly the same. I feel like it doesn't have the same exact vibe as the book. I feel like the movie is, it's Disney, it's Disneyified, and the book is a bit more, like, it's a children's book, but it's a bit more, it's less Disneyified. You know what I mean? And I personally thought the book was absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite books. I love that book. So if we're comparing the two, obviously the books are always better, but obviously the book, they have different vibes. But I still like the movie. It's fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I would say it's worth watching. It's fun. And I will watch it again one day. Then at 15, we have Return to Neverland. This is the second movie to Peter Pan. I gave this a 3 stars. I think it was worth watching because I really enjoy Peter Pan, so it's definitely worth watching. As for would I watch it again, this falls into the camp of maybe one day I'd be like, oh, I want to watch that again. But for the most part, I feel like it's like kind of leaning towards the no category. Like, I don't really care at this point to watch it again. I'm glad I watched it. It was fun while I watched it that time, but it didn't really stick with me and I didn't really care that much. And I was only watching it because I liked the first one, and I thought, oh, the second one, maybe this will be good. But it was just not nearly as good as the first one was. Coming in at number 16, we have Finding Nemo. This movie is great. I've always liked this movie. It's a really fun and great movie, and I don't know, I've always loved this movie, and I gave this a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I'm gonna watch it again. It's just a really fun movie about fish and other creatures in the ocean. Like, yeah, it's great. I love Finding Nemo. Next, we have the piece de la resistance, meaning the best movie franchise of all time when it comes to animated stuff. Best animated movie of all time. And that is number 17, How to Train Your Dragon. This gets 6 stars. Like, I love this movie. It is my favorite animated movie of all time. It's my favorite animated movie franchise of all time. Not to confuse that with movie and TV show, because whilst I absolutely love the TV show almost as much as I love the movies, it's not my favorite TV show franchise of all time that's animated because, I mean, Avatar, right? But if we're just talking about the movies, the show is amazing and everything connected is absolutely amazing. I love everything and anything to do with How to Train Your Dragon. And I've seen a good majority of it. I've seen the movies, I've seen shorts like The Legend of the Bone Napper, Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk. The show, Race to the Edge, and then there's the Christmas special thing that they had. I've seen that. There's, like, just about everything. There might be a few things I haven't seen, but for the most part, I've seen everything connected. So, 6 stars. Obviously, if we're going with a 5-star rating, it's technically 5, but it's like a 6-star movie for me. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I'm gonna watch it again. Number 18 and 19, we have How to Train Your Dragon 2 and How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World. Again, both of these fall into the 6-star camp. They're my favorite movie franchise. They just all go together. My favorite is definitely How to Train Your Dragon, but the other two are in a close second. They're amazing. I love them. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is sad. How to Train Your Dragon 3 is also sad at the end. for different reasons than the second one. But I just absolutely love the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. I'm obsessed with it. I love the show. I love Hiccup and Toothless, and the twins are hilarious, Rough Nut and Tough Nut, and Snotlout and Astrid, and all of the people. I just love that whole franchise. I think it's absolutely great. Coming in at number 20, we have a movie that I never saw before this challenge, and that is Rise of the Guardians. If you've never heard of Rise of the Guardians, it's the movie that has Jack Frost in it. I know that character is a popular character on the internet. I had never seen it before, but we had it back in our library, so I guess my siblings watched it. And I honestly was going into this movie thinking that this was going to be the dumbest movie ever. I was like really skeptical about this movie. My thoughts were this is going to be probably a really dumb movie. I've seen Jack Frost on the internet, and he, like, as a character looks kind of cool, but the movie itself looked kind of dumb, right? And so I watched it. And my rating for this was actually a 4 stars. I thought it was definitely worth watching, and I would totally watch it again. I surprisingly like this a lot more than I expected to. Coming in at 21, we have another one of my least favorite movies of all time, in the animated universe, that is. I already knew that I hated this movie, let's just be honest, but I actually rated it higher than I thought I would, because when I rewatched it, I was like, I still hate this, but it's not as bad as I was picturing it to be in my rewatch of it. So that is another worldwide phenomenon that everyone's obsessed with, Frozen. I'm sorry. I hate that movie. Let's just be honest here. I gave it a 2 stars. Yes, it was worth watching. No, I will never watch it again. Coming in at number 22, we have Despicable Me. This is another one of those movies that is like really taking storm all over the world, and people are like obsessed with it. But this is one of those movies that I actually think is hilarious, and I like this movie a lot. It's really hilarious. It's a 4 star. Yes, it was worth watching, and yes, I'll watch it again. I think it's hilarious. Okay? That's what I have to say. And I see it way less than I see Frozen, so there's also that. But coming in at number 23, we have Disney's Brave. This is... Okay, going into this movie, I had already seen it before like 3 times. So I was like, the past 3 times of watching this, I was not impressed. I was not a fan. And going into this, I was strongly hoping that this time I watched it, I would like this movie. Because this movie, the vibe and the Scottish stuff and the cool heroine with like the bow and the curly red hair was like so appealing, and just like the way it was designed is so appealing. And then I watch it and I'm just so disappointed, and I'm just like, this is a terrible movie. The story is just so lame. This just isn't that good of a movie, and I gave this a 2 stars. It's on the higher end of 2 stars, but it was worth watching. No, I'm not gonna watch it again. At number 24, I watched Despicable Me 2. I actually love that movie as well. That's another 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching, and yes, I would watch it again. With Despicable Me, I like the first and second movies. I despise any of those movies that have just the Minions, or that are about the Minions. I should say, I despise the first movie with the Minions. I haven't seen the other ones. But I saw like at least half that first Minion movie, and I hated it so much. The Minions are utterly annoying. They're just annoying. They're so annoying. Now, in the first Despicable Me movie, it's funny. They're kind of funny. They're not like super terribly prevalent, so it's fun. It's great. The second movie, they're pretty prevalent, but it's still a good movie, and they're not the worst, right? But then you make a whole movie about just these annoying creatures, and I'm just like, no. Just no. Like, it's annoying. I don't know how else to say it, but it's annoying. And I saw like half the third movie once. Didn't watch it for this because I'm not watching it. I wasn't a fan. I thought it was kind of terrible. Coming in at number 25, I watched Rango. This movie is hilarious. It's so weird because when I'm not watching this movie and I randomly think about it for some reason or something, I'm like, this movie's fun, but it's not like that amazing. But then when I watch it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this movie is absolutely hilarious, and it's better than I think it is in my head when I'm not watching it. But I did give this a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching, and yes, I'd watch it again. Okay, coming in at 26, we have another one that's like really high up for me. I love this movie so much. We're gonna try to get through these a little bit quicker because this is like taking forever. But we have Tintin. I love this movie. If you don't know, I'll just give you a brief explanation. If you don't know, Tintin is originally a comic series, I believe, and they made a TV show based off of that comic series. It's like the same animation as the comics. But then they also made a movie that has animation that looks like really realistic. And that movie is awesome. I love that movie. I did give this a 4.5 stars. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I will watch it again. I love this movie. I think you should give it a shot. It's a great movie. I love Tintin. Coming in at number 27, 28, and 29, we have Wallace and Gromit: A Grand Day Out, Wallace and Gromit: The Wrong Trousers, Wallace and Gromit: A Close Shave. If you don't know, Wallace and Gromit is absolutely incredible. Another one of my favorites. This is just absolutely amazing. I love Wallace and Gromit so much. Wallace is hilarious. Gromit is great. These movies are great. I have them all at a 4.75. Yes, they're worth watching, and yes, I'm going to watch them over and over and over again. Next, we also have Wallace and Gromit. This is number 30. We have Wallace and Gromit: A Matter of Loaf and Death. This is another amazing thing. I love all the Wallace and Gromit, so I'm biased, but this one I did give a 4.5 stars. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I'm going to watch it again. Coming in at number 31, we have Megamind. Yes, yes, and yes. Megamind is hilarious. This one I rated a 4.5 stars. This movie is awesome. It is hilarious. I love Megamind. He's so funny. And at number 32, we have Megamind: The Button of Doom. That's another 4.5 stars. Yes and yes. This is a short movie from Megamind, after Megamind, and it's hilarious as well. Next, we have one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's actually my third favorite animated movie of all time, although I don't have my second one on this list yet because I haven't watched it for this video yet. Number 3 favorite animated movie of all time, which is number 33 that I watched, is Big Hero 6. This is a 5 star. Technically, this is a 6 star. And yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I will watch it again. As we're narrowing down this list, we're on 34, and we have A Bug's Life. This is, I believe, like a Pixar film or something, or Disney Pixar or something like that. But this movie is also hilarious, and I've also loved this movie. It's a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I will watch it again. Coming in at number 35, this one is, like, it's kind of weird, but Cars. It's Cars, okay? First off, we're just talking about the first Cars. We're not talking about any other Cars things. I've never liked the second Cars or any other Cars-related things. But for the first Car movie, I said 3 stars, and I said, yes, it was worth watching, and maybe I would watch it again. Maybe that's controversial, maybe it's not, I don't know. But personally, I am not that drawn towards this movie. Like, when I watch it, I'm like, this is funny, Mater's hilarious, and, you know, it's a decent movie, but then I'm just not drawn towards it. Like, Like, when I think about rewatching it, I'm just like, I'm not drawn towards it at all. Next, we have Inside Out. This is another 3 stars. This is not a bad movie either, but I'm not super drawn towards this movie. It is worth watching, and it's in the same camp of maybe I would rewatch it, but like, I don't really think about it ever, and I don't really care that much. Like, it was kind of fun, but I just don't really care. Coming in at number 37, this one I actually did watch very recently, within the past month or so. Monsters vs. Aliens. I love this movie. This is a 4 stars. Yes, it's worth watching. Yes, I will watch it again. This movie is just a great movie. Another one that I watched as a child. Coming in at number 38, we have this movie. Okay, this is one of my lowest movies, and that's because I can't have a proper opinion on this. Basically, this is Bolt. I have never seen this movie in my life, and so I was like, I'm gonna put this on this list. I have no idea what this movie is about, except that it's about a dog. And so I was like, I'll put this on this list because I've never seen it, blah, blah, blah. I didn't finish the movie, I don't know if that's prevalent yet, but I watched probably about like 10 to 20 minutes of this movie, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm done. So I gave this a 0 stars. I would say it's not worth watching, in my opinion, and I'm never going to finish it or watch it again. I watched at number 39, we have another Disney movie, Pocahontas. I have never seen Pocahontas either. I've seen it on the internet, and I hear people talk about it, but I've never watched it myself. There's a lot of those, like, Disney movies that I've never actually seen. I mean, there's a lot I have seen, obviously, but there's a few that I haven't seen that are pretty popular, and I'm like, yeah, I've never seen that. So I finally watched Pocahontas, unimpressed. I did not like this movie. I'm just gonna put it out there, I didn't like it. I gave it a 2.5 stars. I think it was worth watching, so now I know, like, oh, that's what Pocahontas is. But I wouldn't watch it again. I did not enjoy it. I really didn't like Pocahontas as a character. She just, like, I don't know. And the guy, I don't know. I wasn't a fan. That's all you need to know. I wasn't a fan. And I watched Madagascar. Madagascar is something I have conflicting feelings on, because sometimes in my brain when I'm not watching it, I'm like, that movie's just kind of annoying. It's an okay movie. And then I watch it and I'm like, this movie is kind of hilarious. Even though it could be kind of annoying sometimes, it's kind of hilarious. So I do like this movie, and I did give this a 3.5 stars. Yes, it was worth watching. Yes, I would watch it again. But it's not something I would watch over and over and over again. It's not something I would watch all the time or something, but I would watch it again. It is a funny movie. So coming in at number 41, we have Hercules. I personally really like Hercules. I think it's a great movie. It's also funny, and I give this a 4 stars. Yes, it was worth watching, and yes, I would totally watch this again. I personally love this movie. Next, we have number 42. This is the last one that I've watched so far out of my list, and that is Coco. Disney's Coco. I think this movie is, I have mixed feelings, and I give this movie 3 stars. I think it was worth watching just to, like, know what the heck is happening and what it's about and all that jazz. I don't think it's worth recommending other people watch, per se, and I will not watch it again. I remember, this isn't the first time I've watched it, it's the second time I've watched it. And I remember the first time I watched it thinking, oh, this is a fun movie, this is cool. But the second time watching it, I was just, like, creeped out the whole time by these, like, if you know the movie, I was creeped out by, like, a majority of the characters. Because I was like, these people just look so creepy, like, why? And I don't like that the movie centered basically around death. Like, that's just nah. So it's, like, not the worst movie ever, but I wouldn't recommend it per se. I'm glad I watched it and, you know, can not have that opinion personally, but I wouldn't recommend it. And I wouldn't watch it again. Those dead people creep me out. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, Why do we have a movie about dead people? So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below what you think of some of these movies. Which is your favorite or least favorite animated movie? I will be hopefully doing a part 2. I have like I said, a whole nother list of more that I still plan to do in the future. I just haven't gotten to them yet. And this has been in the works since last year, so I've been watching these over like a period of like probably even a year at this point. I don't know exactly when I started watching these movies, but it's been a very long time, and I was waiting to like film this until I watched all of the movies on my list, and then I just decided that that's too much, like, for one video, first off, and second off, like, let's just do this two-parter and film what I've got so far. So those are all of the movies. There are still some great movies to come. My second favorite animated movie has not been watched yet, so you can look forward to that in the next video. I will give you the list of what order these go in at the end of this video. I will put the list of which one is the highest and which, like, is, you know, the order of how I like them. Like, this one's better than this one, and this one's better than that one, and this one's worse, and all of that. So if you're into history, historical, fashion, history, check out my other channel linked below. I will see you in the next video. I hope you have your own fun reading adventures. Bye.